Alright, so we're going to be talking about some vocabulary terms today. We're going to be doing points, lines, segments, rays, angles, and planes. Mostly what we want to get out of this today is we want to know what they each look like in a picture and how do we name them. What's the proper way to name them and what are the right symbols to use and that kind of thing, right? That way when we're working through our geometry units this year, we'll be able to know what type of thing we're looking at just by the name of it, instead of being able to just see the picture. All right, so the names are being really important this year, so it's important that we learn this now. So we're going to start with a point. Points are fairly easy. They look like this. It's a point. All right, it'll be a dot. All right, points are made when you intersect lines, right? So you draw two lines, they cross at a point, right? So it's kind of like a dot. The symbol, it doesn't really have a symbol in the name. We usually just say point L or point P or point K, whatever the name of it is, right? So to name it, you just say point and then whatever it's called, right? So this one up here would be point P, right? So we write the word point in front of it, right? And then for lines, a line looks like this. And then we say that it extends infinitely in both directions. All right, it's going to extend in both directions. You can put points along your line, but the biggest thing is it's a line if it has arrows on both sides of it. Right, so that's what it looks like. The symbol for a line is this. It's basically, you just draw the line, right? So when you can write it, you have two options to name it. The first way you can name it is you can say 2 points that are on that line. So we'll add 2 points here. Let's say this is X and Y. So this line would be called XY. And then you put the symbol over top of it. Right. Another way you can name it is sometimes by one of the arrows, they'll put a letter like this. So there's an M there. So we could also call this line M. If you're using that letter there, you have to write the word line in front of the letter, right? In every case, we know it's a line because of the name. We either draw the line symbol above the 2 points, or we write the word line in front of the letter. A segment is kind of like a line, but there's no arrows on it. It ends on both sides of that line. We'll say both sides end. Right? The symbol for this one is just a line with nothing on it. Right? If it's a line, it's got arrows. If it's a segment, no arrows. Right? You name it very similar to line. So we'll call this one WZ. This one, when we say the 2 points, we'd say WZ with just the line on the top. Right? This tells me that this was a segment and not a full line like this one was. You can also use that letter there, but you would write segment. Or sometimes it'll say line segment. M. Either way, it's fine. Array. Array is kind of like a combination of these. Array has it ends on one side, but goes forever on the other side. That's the points. The symbol for this one is the line with just the one arrow. And again, we name it exactly the same way we did these. It's just that above the 2 points, you'll draw the line with one arrow. And when you say the letter by the arrow, you would say ray, M. So line, segments, and rays are all very similar. It's just about how many arrows are there. All right, oh, forgot to put the definition here. This one end, sorry, it extends infinitely one direction. Okay, that's this. An angle is what you get when you put two rays together. So an angle, you'll have a point that's in the middle. You'll have a ray, two rays coming out of one point. From one point. Forms an angle. Right. I'm going to give it some letters. So X, Y, Z. So angle symbol will look like this. It's just a little angle. When you name an angle, you're going to say 3 points. Right? So you pick the 3 points of the angle and always go in order. So for this one, I'd go X, Y, Z. And then the angle symbol, we're not going to put it over top. We're going to put it in front of it. So this is angle X, Y, Z. Right? X, Y, Z. You can go the opposite order. So you could go Z, Y, X. That's perfectly fine. As long as the Y is in the middle, because it's the middle point. Right? So those are both good names. Sometimes, if you just have one angle like this, you can also just call this angle Y. And you don't have to use those. The only thing with that is you have something like this, where there's two angles. And that was why you would not be allowed to do angle Y for that, because we wouldn't know, is it the whole thing? Is it just this side? Is it just this side? It makes it more confusing. So in this case, you wouldn't be allowed to use that. Just the one letter, if you have more than one angle. If it's only one angle, like this example, then just saying angle Y would be fine. Angles. The last one is a plane. Plane is a flat surface. We usually kind of draw it like this to symbolize it. Anything flat. So like the top of my table here is a plane, or this piece of paper is like a plane because it's flat. Right? Anything flat is going to be a plane, like the side of a box or a wall or your ceiling or the floor, something like that. It's going to be flat. We don't have a symbol for plane. We just say the word plane, kind of like we did over here with points. We just say the word point. So we're going to name it. There's two ways to name this one. You can say 3 points, kind of like it did. So on here, we could have some points. So I'll put 3 on here. We'll go A, B, and C. So this would be plane A, B, C. Right? So again, you say the 3 letters, but you have to put the word plane in front so we know it's a plane. Right? If we didn't use these symbols or the words and I just said 3 letters, you wouldn't know if it's an angle or a plane. It's got 3 letters, right? This way we know which type of thing it is, right? The other way you can do it, kind of like how we had these M's on these ones, sometimes in one of the corners, they might put a little letter like an M. In that case, you can say plane M. It'll be in the corner and it won't have a dot. If it's got a dot like these ones, then it's a point. No dot and in the corner, then it's the name of the plane.